Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an advanced Dungeons & Dragons advice video on your character. Before I get into this though, if you enjoy my content, it would really help me out if you could hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, share my content on all of your social media platforms, and post a comment or two. Remember, I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. And check me out over on Rumble for my political commentary and weekly current events. If you enjoy a good book, check out my author page on Amazon.com. My pen name is H.L. Anderson. You can find all of my books there, including the one pictured here, the tabletop role-playing game, Outlaw Trails. It's a very basic, simple, realistic role-playing game based in the Old West. You get to go on cattle drives and hunt down outlaws, or become an outlaw, whatever you want to do. It's all there. I designed it to be very simple so that anybody if you've never ever played a tabletop role-playing game before, you can pick up the book, read it for a couple hours, and be able to not only play, but run it with your family and friends. It is a great social way to get people together and to have fun with your family and friends. All right. Your character. One of the most important concepts in tabletop role-playing games, and this is any tabletop role-playing game, is the character. The character you run in the game is your playing piece in the game. In Monopoly, you have the car or the shoe or the dog or the wheelbarrow or whatever. In a tabletop role-playing game, you have a fleshed-out person with strengths and weaknesses and abilities and skills all listed on a sheet of paper. This is your character. It's like your avatar. In video games, it's called an avatar. In tabletop role-playing games, it is your character. In the game, you can have your character do literally anything that person could do within the confines of the list of stuff on that piece of paper. Wizards can cast magic spells, fighters can use swords and battle axes, thieves can hide in shadows and pick locks, clerics can cast healing spells and they're pretty good fighters. That's Dungeons & Dragons. In Heroes Unlimited, characters can have superpowers just like the characters in the comic books. In Recon, characters are soldiers fighting in jungle warfare using automatic weapons and explosive ordnance. The gist here is that characters, regardless of the game, have skills, powers, and knowledge that the player does not, and the player gets to use the character as they see fit. That's the advantage of tabletop role-playing over video games. Video games, they're cool, but you have a limited list of things you can do. You can either do this, or this. With tabletop role-playing, you can literally do anything. You can have your character dance in the street and cluck like a chicken if they want. I don't know why you would, but you could. Okay? Here's the rub. In order to use that character effectively, you need to know that character. That's where character creation comes into it. Players should create their own characters. That way, the player knows everything there is to know about that character. That player will have a complete rundown of everything that character can do and cannot do, and will be as effective as can be. The game master can help, but it has to be the player who creates the character. Period. One of the criticisms of advanced Dungeons & Dragons is that character creation requires multiple books. The Player's Handbook, the Unearthed Arcana, the Dungeon Master's Guide, possibly the Wilderness and Dungeoneer Survival Guides, Legends and Lore, and maybe others. Yes, this makes character creation a bit more involved than later versions of the game. However, all of that work serves a purpose. Looking up stuff in a half a dozen books makes newer players a lot more familiar with the game. They have to research to make their character and will gather tons of collateral information and tertiary knowledge along the way. This knowledge will be invaluable in gameplay. Later versions consolidated most of the information for character creation into one book. While that's certainly nifty, it also creates fragile players who know only that character and very little else. One of the newer practices in tabletop role-playing games, at least it's new to me, is when the Dungeon Master has pre-generated characters. While this serves a purpose, for example, if the player is too short a time to create their own characters, or when somebody shows up and wants to play spur of the moment, pre-generated characters are awesome. They can always change and run a different character later if they enjoy the game, you see. Or when a campaign calls for a specific type of character. The game master has a specific campaign in mind, and this person has, they need this, and this to play in this game. Okay? The characters are pre-generating there is awesome. It is generally far more effective and desirable for a player to make their own. However, there are certain instances. For example, one of my friends is running a new game and has created pre-generated characters for all of the players, but because she knows what her campaign will need. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. She has a specific campaign in mind, and she knows she'll need specific characters in it. Amen. See, now that is a good use of pre-generated characters. Okay. Spur of the moment play when a player shows up and wants to get in, but does you don't really want to take the time to create a character. Yeah, that's good. That pre-generated characters are awesome. And again, like my friend here, when she has a specific campaign she wants to run, she's pre-generated all these characters. She's given us a week or two to get familiar with the characters. Amen. That's fine. That is absolutely wonderful. That's what that's for. Amen. Later editions of Dungeons and Dragons make character creation too simple. Players don't need to work, and they miss out on genuine research. In my opinion, today's 5e players, 5e Dungeons and Dragons caters to less resourceful players. First edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons is far superior because the most innocuous task is a teachable moment. And yes, you can use pre-generated characters, as I suggested, in first edition. It just takes a little bit more time to create, and you'll need to explain them to the player. Regardless of which version or edition you play, do the research. Don't let other people create your character for you if you can help it, and for God's sake, don't let a computer do it. That's the worst. The last time I created a character for 5th edition, there were a bunch of other players using D&D Beyond. I had my character ready in 20 or 30 minutes and had to wait 3 hours for everyone else to be ready to play. In my opinion, D&D Beyond is total horseshit, but that's my opinion. Okay. If anybody else has a different opinion, stick it in the comments. I'm sure we'd all love to read them, and I value other people's opinions even if I disagree with them. All right. I hope this finds everybody well. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all.